Welcome back to If These Walls Could Talk. I'm Amber Kimmel, your host with Kimmel Collective, brokered by Keller Williams Realty. Today, we have Brett Stewart here with us, and thank you for coming in.
Yeah, excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited for you to come in. I wanted to start by, can you just share with us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, who I am, what I do. Name is Brett Stewart. I'm a local Abilenian, been here all my life. I love this place and I love this community. For 14 years, I served as a pastor at a few different churches. And then I got into some real estate investing while I was doing that and just did it on the side and thought, hey, maybe we could pay off some student loans and it'd be nice to get, a couple of rentals. And then I just grew a passion and a love for it. And I tell people I accidentally created a job or a business around it. So then I got to the point where I was like working full time in both areas and honestly just felt that decision to step out of being a pastor church ministry professionally and go into the real estate investing world. So I've been investing in real estate since 2020. People changed up their lives in 2020. So I guess I did too. Been doing it full time now for a little over 3.5 years. Yeah. So now I am owner and operator of Joe Homebuyer Abilene Fort Worth. So Joe Homebuyer is a nationwide franchise of real estate investors. Right now there's 50 something in the nation. And so I operate Abilene east to Fort Worth. So haven't done a ton of stuff there yet. We'll eventually kind of move into that way, not move away from Abilene, but add it to. It's kind of cool because I grew up in Abilene and my wife grew up in the Fort Worth area. So we have a love for both places. And so we're kind of creating now a business that brings both of our homes together. So yeah, we do flips and renovations and rentals, Airbnbs, and anything real estate. And what's unique about us is we do a lot of direct to seller communication and home buying. And so through marketing and through outreach and through making connections and local networking and people just knowing who we are and what we do, we're able to get in touch with sellers that often are in need of selling their house or selling it quickly, or just because of a nature or a number of circumstances, maybe the traditional listing isn't the right option or the best option in that moment. But I love telling people, like, I am not against realtors at all. I love realtors. In fact, when we renovate a house and flip it, I don't want to go get licensed and list that thing. Like I want to let the professionals do their thing. And so I often talk about how it's unique and cool. Like we each have our own lane, and it's not to be seen as competition, but it's like, okay, how do we run in our lanes together, and how do we help each other's businesses grow? So that's just a quick blast about what I do a little bit.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's all good. You said that you kind of started getting into real estate. You started with the need, had some student loans, thought might be cool to pay off.
Yeah.
What made you think or look to real estate?
So I think at first the idea sparked because some of my parents' friends, at their age, their retirement, close to retirement, I noticed some of them like having a couple of rent houses. And so I think that started with the thought, it's like, oh, maybe I want some rent houses. And then one day somebody had just in a conversation, not even with me, but with someone else, had mentioned the Bigger Pockets Real Estate podcast. And I just started listening to that. And then it was kind of a mixture of anytime I was in the car, I was just listening to podcasts. I was watching some YouTube videos when I could. But then ironically, I don't know, maybe some people think this is weird. Maybe they don't, but I really felt like God told me to study and to get into real estate, and that he was going to bring together the worlds of ministry, which I knew all about, but also bring together the world of real estate in a way that was creative and that I wasn't really going to know how or what that would look like, just that it was going to. So I kind of just started.
And you just walked in faith.
I just walked in faith and started doing it. And honestly, I thought like, okay, pay off some student loans, maybe have some rentals. And then, all right, I'll just trust that God will tell me or lead
the
me.
way.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. You first, I don't know, not having been in the real estate world or anything like that, when you listen to it at first, you're like, I don't understand a thing that's going on. Like I pick up a few things, but then you just start to hear common phrases repeated. And it's just so interesting how immersive the learning can be if you just stay consistent with it. And so like, not that we have to go in this direction, but just a side note to anybody listening or watching is don't underestimate just the power of immersion. Like if there's a passion or a creative thought that you have or something you want to do or a dream that just literally scares you and you don't know where to start, just immerse yourself in it and you'd be surprised at how much you absorb and take in. I think we take that for granted. Because by the time I probably listened to that podcast for 2.5 years before I ever did anything real estate. But as soon as I started, I felt like I had already been doing real estate.
Yeah, I think it's cool how your brain and your mind, even like you're hearing things and like you're saying that whole immersion, it will come back to you or it'll start connecting and it'll start all making sense.
Yeah.
You talked about kind of what you got into real estate, you know, hearing your people your parents' age and them having rentals. I've had several clients, rentals is just a whole conversation that you could have, but I've had several clients, I thought it was a neat investment strategy. They buy a house for each of their kids when they're born and keep it as a rental. And then when they go to college, they sell it and that's their college
put it
fund.
on a 15 or 20-year note. And, you know, by the time they go to college, and that's the cool thing too, is like, we're also now in a time where maybe it's not the best thing for a kid to go to college and maybe they want to launch a business or get into this or do this. They can either keep that house for their own investment sake and learn management or, you know, get, you know, some income from it. Or if they do want to go to college, then sell it and then let it be the college fund. So like there's just a number of things you can do. Yeah. And so I love that thought of thinking so far in advance for you and your kids and your family and whoever that you can incorporate that into a strategy and then look back and say, man, I'm so glad 20 years ago that I took the risk to do this.
Yes.
So.
I find myself almost saying daily with real estate, I feel like what's always on your side is time, the more time you have behind you. So when people are thinking about, should I buy now or should I wait? And it's always now.
Always now, because it's easy to sit here and say, man, I wish I would have 5 years ago, but I guarantee you 5 years from now, it will be the same. Oh, I really wish I would have in 2026.
Always.
And so on. And so, yeah, you're right. Now, and one of the things on Bigger Pockets that was comforting when I was learning was, you know, they said real estate is one of the most forgiving asset classes. So even if you don't buy just the best deal numbers wise, hold on to it for enough years and you still come out on top.
That's one thing I tell my people all the time too. I'm like, there's never a bad time to buy. There might be a less than ideal time to sell, but there's not a bad time to buy. Like time is your biggest, I like that. What'd you say, your most forgiving assets?
Yeah, it's one of the most forgiving asset classes.
You could buy a stock that may never come back.
Yes.
Ever.
Yeah. And with how rapid, you know, startup companies happen and then they don't, but then you even think about Blockbuster, think about Circuit City, you know, think about, I mean, we can start naming all of these things and it's like, oh, these are going to be around forever. And then they're not.
Right.
So, but real estate, it's been around since beginning. There's been land and there's been dwellings and there is a need for it.
That's right. That's right. I like that a lot. Yeah. So you said you're from Abilene.
Yep. Born and raised.
So you've seen a lot
of
things here locally. What's your take or your observation as far as what the market's going on right now, what it looks like right now or how it's changed?
Yeah. So, you know, I think one thing, during 2020, during COVID, a lot of people were bored and didn't know what to do. And so they started listening, watching, reading, whatever. And so it seemed like a lot of people wanted to get into real estate, and they did. But that was also a very unrealistic time or pulse of like a true real estate market. I mean, those were in the days of like, you list it and, you know, multiple offers within an hour of getting it listed. And so people tried to create expectations based off of that very rare moment in time. But then, as we know, like it lasted through 2021, but then when we got to 2022, like it kind of changed, and it changed quickly.
It did.
And so, yeah, from 22 to even, I'd say halfway to last year, 25, like it was kind of a grind. Like it was one of those where it was not like, yay, I love every day. It's like, I'm working, I'm digging, I'm planting, I'm putting the seeds in the ground, and I hope that something comes up from it. But we've seen a real good shift here lately. I didn't want to take away if you had a thought.
No, I think what it made me think of, I really actually kind of enjoyed that time a lot, because it allowed on me to be so much more intentional and strategic, because we had,
yes,
you were working harder.
It forces creativity, it forces learning, it forces, how can I do this a different way? How do I meet the needs of my clients? How do I meet the needs of my business and growing a business and employees and team members and all these things? And so it's one of those of like, a lot of people fall out during that time, but for those that stick in, the learning moments that come from it are so valuable.
Absolutely.
It forges something in you that now, when the market corrects itself, like you have an extreme advantage, but you also have strengthened a muscle and an ability of working and doing real estate, so that not if, but when, you know, another hard real estate market happens, you've been there before, you know what to do, like you're able to keep going. So I agree with you. Like it's don't dismiss and like, oh, I'm so glad those times are over. In fact, those were very valuable times, and I'm thankful for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I enjoy those times. In real estate, I think we're always constantly pivoting based on market or the economy or different factors that come in.
Yeah. So for Abilene, I've seen it's, you know, we've had a nice uptick and turn. And, you know, I've been saying for years now, I mean, at least the last 2 years, even when the market wasn't great, I've told people like, the scales are going to tip in Abilene. Like it just felt like there was just kind of this tension stirring that, you know, was like kind of slowly rising and building. The pressure was building. And I just always told people like, I feel like the scales are about to tip to where there's just going to be so much momentum that then generates more momentum. And that's going to contribute to the growth and the expansion of Abilene. And I'm excited about it because I love this place. You know, it's easy to want to go move to somewhere big that has a whole bunch of stuff and, you know, whatever. But I think it's even more exciting to be part of something that is growing and changing and becoming a place that's starting to be more known. So yeah, it's been cool to see the growth that we've had in Abilene, and especially being here my whole life. I mean, I think I've seen more development in the last 3-4 years than the rest of my entire life in Abilene.
I think that's true. And
so to now even just project what's 5 or 10 years going to look like from now is super exciting. Like I get excited about it. Yes, we face our own challenges of like, okay, how do we grow? How do our systems in Abilene and as a city and as a community, how do they support future growth, especially if that growth is going to be rapid? And so like, there's going to be tension, there's going to be difficulty, there's going to be things that have to be worked through, but it's also really exciting about what that means for community and businesses and then just this city that we love, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
it is very exciting to watch and see, and all the growth and the changes. And do you know of anybody or any organizations, you know, speaking to you, filling those needs as we grow, that are addressing those needs or monitoring those needs, like specific to housing?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
We were discussing a little bit before. It's interesting. There has been such an increased demand for housing, whether that is a long-term rental or even a short-term or medium-term rental, as people refer to it. We're getting a major flow of construction with various projects, data centers, and whatnot that's coming. But you also got to think like Air Force Base expansion with the new bomber, Abilene Regional Airport renovations that are going to happen, and then there's a whole, 3-phase development thing for the land around the airport. There's businesses coming in now, like the little the Bass Pro Shop and whatever else is coming. Like more, like people are starting to know and hear about Abilene and look, okay, if other people are going there, maybe we should too. So I don't know that it's going to slow down.
Yeah.
But I know that increase on the demand of housing has also created a housing shortage when it comes to rentals. And as we were discussing before, I don't know what the answer is, but I want to be mindful of it. And I know people out there are building new homes, and the city has a great program that they are working with local investors and builders to either renovate houses or to build new houses. And so I'm super excited about that. And I love that our city is participating in that. It just, you look kind of at a wide scale of, are we building as much as the increased demand?
Right.
I don't know. And I don't know.
I'm not sure they can build it fast enough.
I'm not sure they can. So, and we see RV parks and stuff going around, and some people, you hear it from both sides of what they think about it, but it's like, hey, housing, affordable housing is a need.
It is.
And so, that's an interesting thing to think about of like, okay, how do we work together as a city to not only grow our businesses and grow the Abilene economy, but also how do we be mindful of the other smaller problems or problems it's creating, and how do we still be part of the solution and not contribute to the problem?
I do think it's important to be mindful of that and to think around that and keep that in mind for sure.
Yeah. So if anybody has any thoughts or answers, please let me know, because I want to help. I want to be a part of it. So
I had someone call. I need to look it up. He told me I was speaking about that to a guy who asked me, wanted to invest here. And I said, I want to read the book. I want to read the book about places that go through growth like this and what, because history always repeats itself. So I'm like, what did they wish they would have known, or what, things like that. And he said, you need to go read about this town out in, I think it was in California. I need to go reference that.
I mean, even looking at, that sounds fascinating. And it is funny because like we look at what is happening in California and we're like, oh my gosh. But honestly, what's happening there, they probably at one point thought they were in our position of like, it'll never get that crazy. But it has. But, also like, hey, what did Fort Worth look like in its growth, and what lessons did they learn and wish they had known? And even Lubbock, there's been a substantial growth in Lubbock. So it would be interesting to like do a case study or something, like deep dive. Okay, now that growth has happened, it's still happening, but like what lessons did you learn, and what lessons might we be able to like draw from and absorb so that we can implement some solutions?
Yes, I'd love to know. I'd love to hear about that, or talk to those people, or read about that, because people have been there, done that.
Yeah.
But I think it's very unique to Abilene right now. And I agree with you. You kind of touched on a lot of the data center people here come and say, well, so many of these people are just temporary, or it's just going to come and go. The demand's not going to stay. But, and I could be wrong, but I think there's so much ancillary business and growth going on. I don't see it
pulling back. So
I don't either.
Yeah, and maybe after a handful of years, these construction workers working at this one multi-year project, they're going to leave. But guess what? All these other construction sites and growth that's happening, more people are coming in and businesses are coming in. And so, while sure, we can pinpoint any one place and say those people aren't going to be around for 10 years, but we have to look at the big picture. So
Yeah.
I agree. I don't think it's slowing down.
I have a lot of people, and I'm not one to ever push somebody or to say, I think you'll regret this because what if I'm wrong?
Mhm.
But at the same time, those people, I have a lot of people that just have their heels in the ground, that it's temporary and they're going to wait it out. They're going to wait it out. I just don't know that that's going to happen.
Yeah. That's why. Are you saying just specific to home buying or just in general? Like they're just general thoughts on
specific to home buying.
Okay.
Like some of the data center people coming in, they want to just rent, and they have this mindset of, well, all this influx is temporary, and they're afraid that in 2 to 3 years, if they move on, they'll have a house like
just an empty vacant house that now is a
imagining this desolate place where
them.
everyone is just like abandoned. And
yeah.
I don't think that's
I don't think that's the case. No. And like you said earlier, if you're waiting for something to slow down or to change, you're going to, in 5 years, regret and be like, oh, I wish I would have 5 years ago, you know? Yeah. So yeah, anybody who's waiting for interest rates to change or, see if this all settles and slows down.
Maybe not.
Now is always, if you're ever interested in buying real estate, now is the time.
Later.
Yeah.
That's right. It's always the right answer.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of shifting gears a little bit. When I was thinking about you coming in and what you do, part of the reason we called this show If Walls Could Talk is because I feel like every real estate transaction almost has a person behind it.
Yes.
And that person has a story.
Yeah.
And so often a real estate transaction is driven by a change in life or a situation, or sometimes they're happy and sometimes they're very sad.
Yeah.
And so to me, those are what gives me, like, what leaves the lasting impressions on me with these people that I encounter and that I work with. And I'm always very honored to help them through real estate transactions meet whatever needs they have going on. So when I was thinking about you specifically, I was like, I'm sure you have seen and heard some crazy stories.
Gosh. Yes, I have.
Do you have a top 5, or do you have one that will always resonate in your mind when you think of that one time?
Oh my gosh, it'd be hard to pick. I think both the houses that I walk through, sometimes you'd be shocked at what I walk through and what I breathe in. But then also, it's just one of those things of like, behind a distressed property, there's a distressed life or distressed situation. But also sometimes, like, don't be fooled, even the things that might look okay on the outside, there's often something distressed going on that it's sad, it's painful, it's hurtful. And so it is a unique thing in our realm and world. And it's interesting because we play 2 different roles in it, but we're both participants in that sometimes the like apex and highlight of someone's life is buying a home or selling a home, and sometimes just the worst and most devastating thing has led them to the need of selling their home. And so, like, what an opportunity that we get to be and to sit with and walk with those people, whether it's in the good or the bad.
Yeah. It's very much, or at least I see it very much, it's a service that we get to do. Yeah,
absolutely. There's one, okay, so if I pick out a story or 2, so, I mean, there's one that comes to mind. I won't forget it. The guy, he called me, and I guess he had maybe talked to some other investors before, but they were out of town, which there's a lot of out of town investors out there calling. And even if they have a Abilene 325 area code, they're not always local.
Right.
And I know that this had happened with this guy because as soon as hello, this is Brett with Joe Homebuyer in Abilene, he started drilling me with questions. Are you from Abilene? Yes. What part? I was like, what do you mean what part? It's just Abilene. It's
what street is Whataburger on?
Yes. No. It got to, well, what school did you go to? Well, do you want high school or college? Because I went to Wiley and I also went to ACU. Well, what are their mascots? Well, the Bulldogs and the Wildcats. And, well, what new restaurants, have we gotten recently that people are talking about? And I was like, well, a lot, but I mean, maybe the Brahms, there's 3 of those. And so he just, he was testing me.
Yeah,
and
he was gonna get down to it.
Yeah, and I wasn't bothered by it, but it was just kind of funny of like, oh man, you're tired of dealing with people
That's
that aren't
funny.
actually local. So
Yeah,
by the time that I convinced him, no man, I'm here.
yeah,
His guard was he kind of calmed down, and then he was able to express, hey, this is the situation that I'm in. So what the story was and what had happened is he had recently got out of jail, and his grandmother had left him this house. This house was not in good shape. It it would have cost expenses and money that he didn't have, and honestly, most people don't just have sitting to the side to do that. And then also he getting out, he's like, okay, I've got this house, but I need a job. But it's hard because there's not a lot of people willing to give someone like me a job. And so he was going through all of that, and he had finally lined out some work, but he needed a car. He's like, I don't have a car to get to this work. And so it's like, yes, Brett, like I need to sell this house because I want to start a new season with my life. I've changed things around. Like I want a fresh start, and this can be part of it. But I also need a car because I finally found someone who lined out some work, but I need to start working. I don't have money for a car. I would use some of the money I get from this sale to get that car, but this sale isn't going to happen as quick as I need the car.
right.
And so in hearing his needs, I said, okay, you know what? What if we go to my car guy? It's Scott Sims at Freedom Motors. I love Scott. I've done lots of business with him. He's a great guy. I said, hey, what if we go and what if we find you a car? And I know that that's the most important thing for you right now because of this work that's lined up. So let's go get you a car. So I went and I took a risk because I bought this guy a car before I ever knew there was clear title on the house, which was I was trying to think of all the ways to like, how do I insure just in case? Because
worst case scenario.
Yeah, because a lot of people probably don't realize the amount of title issues that we can run into with properties.
Yes.
And so it was just one of those of like, there's no guarantee
This could go south.
if this is a thing that cannot be resolved and I'm not able to buy and fix and sell this house to make a profit for my business, like I will be out of pocket this car. And so it was actually a really interesting conversation with Scott Sims because he and I were talking about it, and he just kind of put it blunt to me of like, well, Brett, do you believe this guy? I said, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Do you feel led to serve him? Yeah, I do. Are you willing to just take a risk to bless this man? I said, yeah, I am.
Yeah.
And so I did. So anyways, we got him the car and he was able to start working, and then we worked through everything with the property. It was moving towards getting scheduled and closed. Then he had need of, hey, I'm going to need a rent house to live in, So then I hooked him up with a couple of different property management companies and went and looked at houses with him, just like, okay, here's what's going to fit your budget and everything. So it was just a really unique situation because I was able to have compassion for this guy because I saw him at a human level, a person level, not see him based upon circumstances or track records, but get to encounter him and see the desire for change and just the desire to have a new start and to get to play a part in that in a way that I don't know that many other people would have taken that route. And so it was just a real cool thing of getting to buy him a car so he could get to work, and then helping him find a rent house that he could be in. And then we did get to buy the house and renovate it and later sell it. And so it was just one of those things of, in the end, it worked for everyone. And that's the best thing in real estate. I tell people this all the time. The best part of real estate, when done right, everyone wins.
That's right.
Everyone can be made better. There can be a solution provided to every person that plays a part in the transaction, whether that's the seller, the buyer, the contractors and the workers, the realtors, the title companies, the banks, the local appraisal district, and property taxes. I mean, I could just list this long list of everybody who, when you do it right, it makes us better. It makes Abilene better. And that's why I love doing real estate. And I love bringing this people first approach that I had, in ministry for 14 years. I love bringing that into the real estate world because it's not just about transactions. It's not just about properties. There's always a person behind the property. And so that's what matters. And I love that you brought that up because that's something that's very core to who I am and what I do.
It's always in the forefront of my mind. And I always see the people before I see the transaction or the property because they're real people. And it's like I said, it's always usually at such a critical time in life for one reason or the other.
Yeah.
So.
And I think too, like, it's easy in our world and in our business and in our rhythm to like Excel sheet everything, just look at numbers, just look at the details of the transactions. And I'd encourage anybody in this, like, just slow down and see the person that's in front of you and how can I serve this person today? And how can I hear them? How can I encourage them? How can I love them? How can I help convey hope to them? And I just don't think we do that enough. We need to slow down and also realize, I don't know, sometimes it's super easy to be fearful of, well, if I give time or money or service or effort towards somebody, what if it goes void? What if it doesn't come back to me? And that's a real like lack mentality. Like that, you're operating from a deficit. You're operating from fear of, well, if I give, what if it doesn't come back? Like we need to operate from a place of being full of like, hey, I am blessed to be alive today. My life is full and I'm going to give without expectation that it comes back. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but that's okay.
I agree 100%. And I think I see and watch people who operate from that fear or that such protected, guarded place of, well, I'm not going to risk that because what if this or what, and I just see them lose out on opportunities, and it's such a gift that you end up getting a gift back by giving. Yeah,
and your most memorable real estate transactions, sales, purchases, whatever, probably aren't numbers based whatsoever.
Right.
The stories you remember and the stories you talk about are the people and how you played a role. Yeah. So it's like we got to get over numbers. Like, yes, numbers are important, but not. Like it doesn't really matter that much because it's not those are not the stories we tell.
Yeah. I'm always very transparent, and my husband says I'm a half glass full kind of person, but I'm like, well, things can go wrong and they will go wrong. But that's part of living. Like if things don't, when I'm helping someone through a transaction, I can't promise you it'll be perfect. Yeah. But I'll promise you I'm going to do everything I can to make the best of where we're at.
I'm going to give you my best.
I'm going to give you my best. But if we're waiting for perfect, or we're looking for perfect, or, trying to safeguard this perfect, there's just not going to be. And just because it's less than perfect, that doesn't mean it was a failure. Right. That doesn't mean that we lost.
Yeah. Hey, 1% growth every day. I'll take that and the compounding effect of that over waiting and waiting and waiting for the 100% because it might not ever happen. So in the same that we talked about, like for those that want to buy real estate, the ones who wait are the ones that miss out. Like there are no perfect circumstances to buy. There's also not perfect circumstances to just serve people and help them. Grow that muscle and that practice of just do it. Like I'm going to give them 100%, but 100% of me, but maybe this situation isn't going to be 100%, but you know what? If it's 1% better, I'll take it.
That's right. That's right. I love that. Shifting gears just a little bit, I'm curious, would you rather, money aside,
would you rather?
Would you rather flip a house, wholesale a house, or keep a rental?
Oh, that's such a hard question. Okay. Oh man.
I was really curious what you'd say.
Yeah. I genuinely love all of them. Some people, a lot of investors I talk to, they're like, I hate rentals. Like, don't do rentals. It's terrible. Don't do it. And I'm like, I love them.
Why do you love them?
Okay, yeah. So I think each have its part
Okay.
to play. I love rentals. Um, I love rentals because of future growth, but today tax benefits.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think a lot of people get steered wrong, and I was this probably first of like, you think rentals is going to be today money and income. It's really not. So just get ready, because even if it is, all it takes is one plumbing problem or one HVAC
One major
system.
repair.
I mean, a $14,000 HVAC system, that took away more than a year worth of like,
that cash flow just.
that's right, that cash flow just went. And so,
See you next year.
yeah, so rent isn't today money,
Okay.
but it's future growth, just like what we were talking about of, those that buy houses for their kids. And in 15, 20 years, guess what? You just eliminated a future worry and stress, either for yourself or your kid, of how do we pay for college? How do we do this? Or you have a dream to open this business because you have these skills, but where are you going to get the money from? So just the idea of how can I be a good steward of today, knowing that in that obedience of today, like it's going to provide opportunities in the future to not only bless my family, but bless others. So that's one of the reasons I love rentals. It's about what it provides for the future, but I do love the tax benefits of today. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. I'm not going to dive into the weeds of that, but owning real estate today has major tax advantages for the day-to-day. So it might not be active income, but the tax savings is really important. Plus, I don't know, I love getting to make a house better and provide that as good housing for someone. Not just sell it, but, be a good landlord and have a nice, affordable home for someone to live in. So that's one of the reasons I enjoy rentals. I really do love flips because I love the before and I love the after. And, you got stuff in between. Sometimes it's like, oh, look at the progress. And sometimes you're like, I feel like this is dragging on and on.
Never gonna end.
It's never going to end. Have you ever had any like that?
Well, speaking of never gonna end, I think the first place I met you in person was a property that you introduced me to.
Yeah.
And how long ago was that?
A year and a half?
Yeah. So I think in the next 60 days, it might
Sweet.
see the other side.
All right. Yeah. So sometimes they take long, and sometimes it just depends on how much you're working on or what all you have going. But I really do love flips of getting to, from start to finish, see the whole result, make the neighborhood better, and then provide something to a new homeowner or a homeowner that's making a change, where they get to buy and step in and now have something that doesn't deliver stress, but it delivers peace and excitement to be there. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then I do love, like the house that you were talking about with you, is because of what I do, there ends up being more opportunities to buy homes than what I have the capacity to buy. And in those circumstances, I also really love networking with other people who are investing into Abilene, not just like big corporations that are buying houses, but like those that are actually here to improve housing and to improve the city. And so when I have opportunity on something of like, well, I could take this on, but I'm not going to touch it for 9 to 12 months because of all this other stuff, then it's an opportunity of, hey, I get to sell that to another investor. I did all the legwork and the groundwork, so they didn't have to spend their time and their money and their effort to find and create the opportunity. Now they can just buy it, take it on, and move it to the next. Yeah, so I work with a lot of other investors that, they're really good friends, and I get texts all the time of like, hey, Brett, I'm finishing up this one or these two, and I need another one. Do you have anything? And it's just really cool because I never meant to be, someone who specialized in and connecting and finding properties and like being able to make those available to others. I ended up falling into that, and it's real cool because I get to meet needs of sellers and people, but I also get to meet needs of fellow investors, colleagues, people that are trying to invest into the city and help them out also. So
very cool.
Yeah.
When you were talking about rentals and the tax benefits, it made me think about, I work with a lot of investors, and they will often call and they're like, well, I just want a good investment. I'm like, that's such a loaded question.
Yeah. Vague question, loaded question.
Yeah, a good real estate investment. And I always try to start breaking it down and pulling back the layers of, to me, it's kind of two pieces. Like, where are you looking for your return on that investment, like time-wise, and how set up are you to take advantage of like the tax savings and different aspects like that. And then also, I don't know, maybe it's just as equal or secondary, just what's your personal preference? Like, some people have a lot of pride in owning this or that, or this makes sense to you. There's as even the most non-emotional person has an emotional component.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
So I'm like, I know it's strictly numbers, but at the end of the day, there's going to be something that just, for whatever reason, is going to make more sense to you than something else.
Right.
And so it's like deciphering through that. But it's always, I get that call so often. Well, I just want something with a good return on investment.
Yeah.
I'm like,
investment of time, investment of finances, month to month, cash on cash return,
flow,
tax like what I love that. Yeah. And it's funny because it surprises you if you try to make the decision or assume the decision for someone else. It just always blows my mind of how every person has like that, their preference, and you just have to like find it. Sometimes they don't know it, and you just walk with them on a journey to find it. And then there's other times where, there's someone that all they want to do is, own a 2 or 3 bath, 2 or 3 bed house for a rental. And then there's those that are like, I don't want to touch rentals. I just want to do flips. Or I don't know. It varies so much. So it's a loaded question.
Yeah, it's a loaded question that I probably go through that conversation almost every day.
And it depends too on like, is this your profession, or you just need to put money into something that's going to grow, or maybe you had a job promotion or you got a really big bonus and you're trying to help offset some of the tax impact from that. And put it into real estate. That real estate will pay for itself. Maybe it doesn't make you today money, but it saves you today money from taxes, and then hold on to it a few years and then sell it. So there's so many ways that real estate can work. And that's another reason why it's so fun.
It is.
Not only when you do it right and do it with integrity and do it to serve everyone who's part of it, like, does everyone win? But there's so many benefits that it can bring.
It's very interesting. I learned a new one the other day. I haven't read a lot about it, but I'm going to. But something about buying land, and you can depreciate is probably not the right word, but the minerals, like the minerals of the land, because what it's worth and what it's good for today is going to be worth less the more you use it, like if you're farming or agriculture. And so there's a huge tax advantage just to buying land and taking the depreciation, or whatever the correct word is, on the mineral depletion. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That's a whole nother world.
So you got to find, I guess, land that has minerals that qualify for that, because not all land does. Because from like a strict like depreciation, depreciation the way you can on a house, you can't do it on land. But when you have minerals or some other resources on it, you can.
And there's these experts that do it. Just like when you say you're going to do like a cost segregation study, the people that you can hire to come in and do that, they come in and do the minerals.
I haven't even. That's going to be a little like rabbit hole that I'm going to have to dig down and just, I love learning.
I do too. And every time I hear something new, I'm always like, what's that about? I want to know more. I always want to know more.
Yeah.
Another thing I thought it'd be interesting to ask you, when it comes to flipping houses or buying houses, owning houses, I'm going to ask you, and then I'm going to ask you why I'm asking you.
Okay.
My question is, what do you think are the kind of largest, biggest surprises or unknown costs that come up? And the reason that I'm asking is I have so many first-time home buyers, and they're very scared. They're scared of that scenario. And then, of course, I'm sure you're familiar with home inspections. Well, they kind of give you a surface high-level overview.
And sometimes home inspections make it, golly, sometimes I've read some and it like people's, especially if they've never seen a home inspection report before and then they see it, they're like, oh my gosh, this house is going to burn down.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I guarantee you the electrical in this house is way safer than the apartment you're living in right now.
Yes.
So
like what are your biggest ticket items that like you've come across or that you're like, I did not see that one coming, or maybe I think once you've been in the industry long enough, you get pretty tuned into those.
Yeah, you anticipate it or you just factor it in.
Yeah. So what are those bigger ticket items?
Oh man, yeah. So how many hard lessons have I learned over the years? Yeah, your big ticket items are always going to, and this is in no particular order. It's going to be roof. It's going to be HVAC. It's going to be plumbing. It's going to be structural damages or problems, and or foundation. You've got appliances and like a water heater and whatnot, but I mean, truthfully, depending on who you have do the water heater, it should cost you anywhere from $1,000 to $1,800 for a water heater. Now, to someone who's buying a home for the first time and maybe they're doing FHA, doing, just as small amount down as possible because they don't have a lot saved up, no one likes paying $1,500, whether you have that $1,500 or you don't. So not to minimize that a water heater replacement isn't a big deal. It is. But comparatively, roof costs, I mean, you can be maybe on the smallest of small houses right now, you can be $6,000, $6,500 up to, I mean, you name it, depending on the size house, you're talking 12, 15, 18, possibly 20,000 or more, again, if you're getting into super large houses. So roof, plumbing, I think is just that's the biggest, like you kind of cross your fingers sometimes of like, I guess it's good. It should be good.
Some cast iron.
And that's the one that often it comes back to get you.
Yeah, I would agree.
So I have a story. There's a specific house. I mean, we renovated this whole house. New roof, exterior siding and painting, and drywall and painting on the inside, new fixtures, new kitchen, new bathrooms. And we had just put in, or we were finishing the floor, which is one of the last things that you do. And I can't remember how, but we discovered it was a slab foundation, so concrete. We discovered that the cast iron drain line under the house had failed, was cracked and crumbling and only getting worse. So what that meant was pull up all this floor that I just pulled up, then jackhammer or saw cut into the concrete of this renovated house, and even putting up tarps and stuff to block, things are getting shot and thrown everywhere, nicks in the new, kitchen cabinets and in the wall. And so it's like, I was right at the end, and then I just had to pay, I don't even remember. And it was a relatively small house, but I mean, I want to say it was like a $12,000, maybe $14,000 cost of, we had to redo the entire drain line of the home. That same home, we caught it a little bit earlier, but it had been a vacant house for a while. When I first saw the house, the gas meter was still there. When I bought the house and closed on it, Atmos had already come and removed the gas meter. So part of Atmos, when they come and put a gas meter on, is they pressure test everything. Well, we found a leak. I mean, it was luckily in the yard, but also it was a very big stretch of yard. And so it's like you have to replace the entire yard line up to the house, and that was $5,000 or $6,000 also. And so your plumbing systems, so gas and water, those are some of the biggest. Foundation, I would say, little stress cracks. Like this is Abilene, Texas. Like
we got that red clay soil.
The nicest things you have, give it a year and a half, there's going to be cracks. So don't freak out when you see, cracks or whatnot. But if you see cracks that, are probably the width of like your pinky, it's like, that's a pretty big crack. So that involves looking. If you can tell a noticeable slope and whatnot. So foundation can be, but usually you can catch that beforehand. HVAC. So I'll say this too. I'm not dogging on home warranty companies, but maybe I am. So a lot of times a home buyer, they're like, well, the system's running. Yeah, it is, 14 years old, 15 years old, but I'm getting a home warranty. So if anything happens, then that system will be covered. I have had home warranties that covered problems, and I have had a lot of home warranties that haven't, because the small print says, well, because of this, that's not something so you pay for this home warranty hoping it protects the system on the house that you just bought, and then you find out, I have to pay $10,000 or $12,000 for a new HVAC system. So I'd say that one too is, even if it looks good and it's operating, I mean, our weather can be so extreme, and those systems tend to just, for whatever reason, seem to be like really fragile. So it's like the HVAC system, just because it's working now, doesn't mean that come next summer, this upcoming summer, or when August hits and it's running nonstop, that it's not going to create an issue.
I agree with everything you said, and I would say my experience has been the same. The plumbing surprised almost to the description you just described last week, actually 2 weeks ago, happened. House completely renovated, found out needed to be redone. So it was about a $10,000, last minute surprise.
Those are, and the more you do it, you learn to anticipate, but you still can't. You don't know what you don't know. You can't see what you can't see. And so, to the best of your ability, you test it. But there's several times where it's been tested in the beginning, and then by the end,
it's not the same.
It's not the same.
So it's interesting. From a buyer's perspective, oftentimes their feedback to me is their biggest concerns are electrical, because they're thinking, danger, my house is going to burn down, which that's valid. But at the same time, just my experience and knowledge base, I'm like, that's one of your less expensive tasks.
But that's the one that on the inspection report, when it comes back, you're like, what do you mean it doesn't have arc protection? It's like, we just started doing arc protection a few years ago. And
that GFCI plug in the garage, I don't know that you really want that, actually, because when you plug in that second fridge and it trips, and you don't
or you plug in the air compressor to, or you're kind of operating a shop out of your garage. Whatever that GFCI is hooked to, like, you just cut that off. So I agree.
It's very interesting.
That is interesting,
because buyers are like, oftentimes, not all, but they are like, oh, everything electrical. The others we're not that worried about, and I'm like, this is what we need to be worried about.
That's true. I mean, I get it. There are certain electric panels, breaker boxes that insurance companies won't insure. Federal, Pacific. There's a couple others, but yes. The reason why insurance won't insure those anymore is because there has happened to be X amount of percentage where they didn't properly trip, and it did cause a fire. So I get that concern. But I would almost say for the houses that catch fire in Abilene, I bet you it is single-digit percentage electric wiring or panel box related, and probably other factors.
I think that's probably true. What do you think about or experience with swimming pools as far as like resale, cost, repairs? If you're looking at a house with a pool, what are your first thoughts?
Yeah. So we just sold one that it had a pool that was filled in. Somebody else filled it in, but they filled it in poorly.
Did you dig it out?
So what we ended up doing, I mean, they packed a decent amount of ground in there, but we did break up and dig out what was still kind of above where they packed it in. Had a landscape company come in. They properly packed, brought more dirt in, packed it, and then we put down. I mean, we created an outdoor area where this old pool was, and so they had stones and rock and created a fire pit and created seating. And so, like, you look at it and you probably can't tell that it used to be a swimming pool. Now, when I bought it, it was clear of like, there's just dirt tossed in this thing. Um, I don't know. You know, some people want and love a pool.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the majority of people don't want it because they're either scared about the maintenance or the like, well, this pool was put in the late 80s, early 90s. Like, do you know what the cost of if it goes, like the cost of having to redo it? So
yeah, I think that's how we end up with so many filled in pools is because once they start breaking or having issues,
right,
they're like, fill it in.
I mean, the cost to, and this isn't against any pool, company, but the cost to put in a pool is substantial.
Yes.
Like expensive.
Yes.
And so then if you're thinking like, I have to remove an old one and then do a new one, I don't know. It's just
the cost of pools, I feel like, has definitely tripled since I first started in real estate.
Yeah.
Like what you could get a pool for, back when I started versus now is a solid triple on that number.
It's interesting. I've got a lot of friends in Arizona and Utah, and it's like there, if you're building a new house or if you're renovating it, it's like everybody has a pool. Well, yeah, I mean, it gets hot there, but also in the South Utah and Arizona places, they also don't experience the kind of cold drop freeze temperatures that we experience here. And so even though Abilene gets hot and a pool is nice, in these other areas, it's like, it's a must to have a pool.
Yep.
And I'm like, it's nice to have a friend that has a pool in the summer.
Like that friend that has the boat.
That's right. Yeah. Truthfully, like, you don't need a boat because chances are you have a friend that has a boat. So go enjoy that friend and their boat. The same with a pool. I
think that is part of it, is our extreme in temperatures. Even though we're not a cold climate, we are hot. But our HVACs and pool, it's the extremes. Like, we're
and our foundations. Our dirt. It's not only the type of soil, but we go from like the floodgates of heaven have opened, and it is just showering us with rain and whatnot, and then it just. And then to just dry for 8 months. And so that rapid change back and forth on our systems and our foundation.
Whole set of problems and issues.
Yeah, I agree.
That's true. I think that's it.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you
coming in. Fun.
And sharing with us. And I appreciate the heart you have for serving people in the same world that we do, real estate. If there was anything else you want to share or tell us about that before we wrap up.
Yeah. I love the journey that I've been on. And I often tell people when they ask me like, Brett, what does life look like for you in 10 years? I say, I give up on trying to plan that out because my life up to this point looks nothing like what I planned for it to look like. But I'm so glad and I'm so grateful. And I bring that up simply because, 6, 7, 8 years ago, I wouldn't have thought or dreamed to do what I'm doing now. It just wasn't on my radar. But along the way came a thought that developed into curiosity, that developed into a dream, an unrealized dream. And having taken the step and walking away from everything I knew in my adult life, career life, professional life, to do something radically different that I had like no previous training or skills or background in, like that's risky. And I bring that up because I feel like there's still a lot of people that have a dream or a thought or a desire that it will either go unrealized or they're just scared to take the step. I often say there's one question that will either launch you into the future or hold you back from your potential, and it's the same question. It's the question, what if? Okay, so how it can hold you back and keep you where you're at, unrealizing, your dreams and your potential. It's what if being asked from a place of fear, like what if something goes wrong? What if I lose everything? What if people don't understand? What if I don't have people's support? What if it looks nothing like what I think it's going to look like? What if? And they come at it out of fear of what might be lost. Same question, what if it works? What if it's fun? What if I find joy and fulfillment in it? What if it changes my life and other people's lives? And so just the way you're asking the question, I'd encourage people, be mindful of that, but also take a risk. Like we've said this multiple times with a couple different things. If you're waiting for the 100% perfect time for anything, it doesn't exist. Just do it. And the great thing about it is, at least for me in my journey, is just one of those of like, okay, if I take a step and I just utterly fail, that's okay. Like, I can go back to what I was doing before, because of this community here in Abilene, because of my family, because of my friends, because of my church community. If I lost everything, I'd have food, I'd have shelter, I'd have life. So really, what am I worried about?
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, I really believe in people. Man, you were created very unique, and you were given dreams and creativity and thought, and there is an expression and fullness of life and joy that happens when we take risks and we step into that creative genius that's in all of us. And so I would just encourage anyone, if you're wrestling with that question, what if, stop asking it from a place of fear and lack and worry, and start asking it from a place of wonder and awe that it really could change your life. And if you don't swing, you can't hit it. So,
That's right.
I don't know. I know that there's people out there that they have a dream, they have a thought, and I just say go for it, because it'll change your life one way or another. And even if it's hard, if it looks nothing like you hoped it would, and even if it doesn't work out long term, what you learn in it is going to be valuable.
I think that was really beautifully said, and a great message to remember and to think about. And just like you said, I have a friend I'm constantly telling, failure is not failure.
Yeah.
Like, even if you try and it doesn't work as you thought you were going to start out to, that wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you did wrong.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
If people wanted to find you or get in touch with you, what would be the best way to do that?
Yeah, you can follow me on social media, Instagram, I think Facebook too. It's just Brett Stewart TX. Somebody had already taken Brett Stewart, and so had to put TX in there for Texas. So yeah, at Brett Stewart, 2 T's in Brett Stewart, not UART, but STEWART. So
you've got double tricky names.
So
there.
we'll drop it somewhere. But yeah, just follow me on social media, reach out, DM. I love talking about real estate. I love talking about taking risks. I love talking about just the wonder of what if, even if it's not specific to real estate. I've experienced it in my own life, and I so deeply want others to experience it too, because it really is fun. It's fulfilling. And again, that's part of living. No matter what happens today and no matter what I receive, I'm already full, and I just get to live and serve and give and enjoy it to the fullest.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you, Amber.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time.